you need to work out. So we're going to do 1 post a week on the gym wear. We're going to do 1 post a week on workouts. We're going to do 1 post a week on post-workout foods, or what I've had in a day, because that's your inside scoop. That's your personality, because you're showing what you've eaten in a day. You don't have to do that. It's not really anything to do with business, but people are getting the inside scoop and the personality. And then within that, you're showing your gym wear, you're showing your gym supplements, whatever it is, and people are going, so where did you get those leggings from? Where did you get those supplements from? And it's about organically adding your products into it.
Yes. I like to call my unlimited content matrix, and essentially you break your business down into 4 pillars, right? You're welcome. Before I even start, you break your business down into 4 pillars. You say, okay, let's say for example it's Crunches by Susie. She really likes, fashion, right? She really likes hair, and there's another 2. So you break down hair and fashion, and you get their keywords. So you say, okay, fashion, we have models, we have material, we have this, that, and the other. And then for each of those keywords, you'd break that down into the who, what, when, where, how, and why.
What's sustainable happens quickly. Nothing. Like very few of you can show me an example of something that is sustainable, that is built quickly. I look at a plant. You look at a tree. Look, the biggest tree in the forest here. How long has it been there for? Thousands of years. It's not coincidence. You look at buildings. How long did they build a building? How long does it stay standing for? Look at a baby. If a baby is born too soon, it's at risk of dying. Everything in life. There's not one thing in life here that can happen quickly and is sustainable. So when I tell you the post here for the next 6 months here, that's me using the laws of life and nature and what we see around us to understand that nothing in life that is built quickly is sustainable.
I love the psychology of it. And I think sometimes with digital marketing, we forget that it's the same thing. It's just using different platforms. And the speed in which the digital platforms allow us to market to our audience compared to traditional offline is just incomparable. It's just crazy fast. And also the accessibility of how many people we can reach. And so it can be quite overwhelming when we think about the bigger picture of digital marketing, but really when it comes down to it, it's about the psychology that we've always known. And that goes right back to, hey, I've got some of these carrots. I've noticed that you haven't got any carrots. What about these? Should we swap some carrots for some of your potatoes? So it's about the psychology of somebody wanting or needing something and then somebody else being able to provide.
We call it edutainment. So it's education and entertainment.
Yeah.
And don't be scared by the entertainment word, because entertainment is broad. Anyone can find anything interesting. It doesn't need to be humorous or anything like that. Teach us about this, and you can do that with a hook. So one tip for video content is you need to capture someone's attention in the first 3 to 5 seconds. You need a hook, and that hook it needs to draw in that person. So on TikTok, you can write a cover title on your video. If your service is beneficial in some way, a hook on that cover title could be, this is what really saves me time when I'm ... That's a hook, because now I want to know what saves you time. So this is where services can really play up to, how is this beneficial for you? Why should you be parting money? How can this change my routine in the best way possible? So that is everything that they need to be pushing.
We're live? All right, here we go. Good morning. Actually, do you know what? Before I say good morning, let me make sure that we're actually live. Oh yeah, we are live. I can see my face and I can see myself talking awkwardly. All right, there we go. I can hear myself as well. All right. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everyone. Welcome to another edition of UKBF Talks. In today's episode, as you can see in the title, we're going to be talking about how you can use video on social media to get yourselves seen by the whole world. But how do we do that? This thing called going viral, or this thing called viral, is something that isn't easily achieved. But these guys have got the secret sauce on how to do that. And I'm hoping today that they're gonna let me steal some of that sauce so that we can use it for ourselves and use it for our own businesses as well. So without further ado, I'm going to introduce you to Jack and Callum, and hopefully we get the value that we're after today. So without further ado, welcome to the webinar today, Jack and Callum. How are you guys doing?
Having us. Yeah, good, thanks.
You good?
Good.
I know we've mentioned this quite a few times. Can the audience, can they see the legs? Can the camera see the legs? They can. All right.
Good.
They can't see. All right. Can the camera see my legs?
Yes.
All right. So normally I rock up to the office, even if it's raining, I rock up to the office in my shorts. So when I saw these guys today with their legs, I was like, wow, my brothers are home, right? They might look different to me, but my brothers are home. So I really appreciate the fact that these guys wore black shorts as well today. So, but yeah, without further ado, who are you guys and why the heck should we listen to you today?
Well, thanks for having us.
Yes.
And I'm glad to be wearing the uniform. I think we all look good in it. But I guess I'll do myself and Callum can do himself. But I'm Jack Westing-Steele. I'm CMO at HelpBnk. Basically, a couple of years ago, I was working a dead-end job at Co-op and I accidentally went viral after knocking a load of bottles of wine over, filming the CCTV and kind of putting like a meme song behind it. And although it was a joke and it was all very funny, it kind of opened my eyes to the power of social media, especially considering I had 0 followers on social at the time. And I was like, there could be something in this. I could maybe make something valuable while using social and kind of tapping into whatever I've tapped into with this viral video. So I started my own social agency and went through the whole process of finding clients, working with clients, getting results and stuff like that. And then a couple of years into that, my life got a lot better when I met Callum Church.
A lot better.
Emphasis on a lot better. I went on Callum's podcast. Me and Callum were doing a little bit of work together, and then Callum introduced me to Simon Squibb, which is mainly what we'll be talking about today, because for the last couple of years Callum and I have been working closely with Simon to build his following to 3 million followers plus across all social media. We've had around 1 billion organic views, and we've never run spend behind it, which is quite cool. And then 4 months ago we launched HelpBnk, which is our software platform which committed to helping as many people as possible start and grow their own business for free. We'll never charge anyone for help. Just about to hit 100,000 users there. And I guess that's the journey so far. So he's not an alien then. He used to work in Co-op and he went viral. And Sainsbury's.
So and Sainsbury's. We're not plugging these shops, by the way, but I think he knows what he's going to be talking about. And yourself, sir?
Well, I'm Callum, and I am the head of content at HelpBnk. And as Jack said, over the last 2 years, we've built a system with the rest of our wonderful team at HelpBnk to generate 30 to 50 million views a month. And with that, we've helped to build the platform up to just short of 100,000 users in, how long has it been?
4 months. Yeah.
4 months. So that's what we do.
Callum's the talented one.
Yeah, I help produce and manage our team of editors that make the content that we do.
So this is going to be a very, very interesting conversation because the stats that you guys are talking about are crazy numbers. Before I even delve into my actual questions, how did you guys do it? Right? How did you guys achieve quite quickly 50 million organic views in a month? What is needed to do that?
I think it all stems from standing out, right? So in marketing, you want to be different and you want to be seen by people, right? So what we've done is we've owned a niche with Simon as the spearhead of the personal brand, which has been leading HelpBnk. We've utilized that personal brand to build out. I've lost my train of thought.
Yeah,
what have we done, Jack? You take over.
So like Callum said, we own the niche, I guess, in entrepreneurship. We use Simon as a spearhead, as someone who's already done it, build authority within that niche.
Yep.
And the kind of magic happened when Simon was already trying to educate people. The magic happened when we blended entertainment with education. So we know there are a few 100,000 people that want to learn these things, but there's millions and millions and millions of people that want to be entertained. That's why they're on these social media platforms. And they want to listen to the stories of the people that Simon interviews. They want to see the strange situation Simon gets themselves in. And then they're subtly being educated, and they're going away from the video, learning about crowdfunding, for example, wanting to start a business. And that's when the magic happened, because we managed to like kind of open the floodgates to the people that we could reach while still helping way more people than we could before. And then kind of introducing them to that idea and thought of starting their own business.
Yeah, no, that's good. Well, we've already got people asking if we can drop the link to HelpBnk in the chat. Jeremiah, can you, what is the URL?
It's just helpbank.com.
HelpBnk.
But there's no A in bank, right? So it's helpbnk.com.
They've not even started yet, guys. I'm already asking for for the link to it. So from what you just said there, our audience are small and micro business owners, right?
Yeah.
They may not necessarily have the authority that, let's say, a Simon may have, or let's say a Stephen Bartlett may have, right? They're just starting up. They may know what they're talking about, but they're just starting up. How can someone who is just starting up, or someone just running a small business, get themselves, what steps can someone do or take to hit those sort of numbers? What's the process like for them?
Well, when you're building a brand online, the first step is just to start. So that's the first piece of advice that I'd have for anyone that's listening right now, is you just need to move yourself to start. Because Simon, he didn't start out with 3 million followers. Stephen Bartlett didn't start out magically with one of the top podcasts in Europe. They started, right? And they all of those started from zero. So I think the first step that you need to do to build out your following is just get started, and then you can perfect it over time as you get better.
Yeah,
I think on your point of they might not have the authority, so how do they position themselves? I think this is quite an important thing to think about. But if you're starting a business in any type of area, you're going to have some type of knowledge that people don't know about it, or experience that people don't have, or even passion that others don't have about it. So maybe you don't want to position yourself as an expert and preach to the camera, for example, but depending on your business, maybe you want to do fun challenges or that kind of revolve around, say, accounting, if you're an accountant, or like think about creative ways you can make fun, engaging content within your niche, but you don't necessarily have to position yourself as the expert in that niche for you to start a brand and you to start getting attention where people are enjoying or learning from what you're doing. You could even, for example, be documenting your journey, and then you're not positioning yourself as an expert, but people still know what you're doing.
No, I like that. I like the fact that you segmentized it as well with looking at what you can do within your particular field of expertise, and then make that entertaining in a way. All right, let me get to my questions. All right, so my first question to you guys is, how can incorporating video content benefit business? Gosh, you've rubbed off on me now. How can incorporating video content benefit businesses looking to build their social media presence from scratch?
So I think any business right now, I think organic content needs to be in their strategy, because this is how businesses are getting built in today's day, right? So if you look at some of the most successful brands in the last year or so, look at stuff like Prime, or look at stuff like Feastables. They're all brands which have been built off of the back of personal brands. So I really think that anyone needs to be building out a personal brand first and foremost before they go ahead and market their brands to people online.
And like I guess depending on the business starting, right, but you want to attract customers. That's the core to any business. So in a lot of businesses, like you're going to be, say, reaching out, doing outreach to, say, clients or customers, but you don't want that to always be the case. And obviously some businesses are relying on, like, say, product businesses, you're relying on them finding you. So by starting content, especially early on, you can kind of start to build this bank of like credibility and access for people to hear about what you're doing, find out about what you do, and then come to you. So then, say, whether it's a few months or even a couple of years down the line, you say you had a service business, you never have to do outreach again because you've built up this brand and this following around what you do, so the people are coming to you, and that's a much better and stronger position to be in, especially as like Callum said, that's kind of the way that the world's going now.
Yeah, and just probably to add to that, as we probably all heard in business, people buy from people.
Exactly.
So having a face or having someone representing the business, the person or the audience or the consumer who want to potentially buy from them are likely to interact better with somebody they're looking at rather than a logo, right? So I think it's about the psychology behind it as well. What do you guys think about that?
Yeah, definitely. I think, like I said, people want to buy from people, and you're kind of just lowering that barrier to people understanding like what your product is, what your business is. Like you're giving it a face, and where people are bombarded in today's day and age with ads for this, ads for that, they don't really fall for it anymore.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like that you're building that trust with them, which people still need, but it's harder to gain their trust.
Yeah.
And you're kind of like cutting in there and getting it earlier. And it's interesting to see how different brands do it, because even massive brands, they're recognizing this, like say Duolingo or Ryanair, and they know they can't say have the CEOs talk on camera about buying flights. So like then they put the face on the airplane, and then they just turn their plane into a person.
Yeah.
But that strategy of like you said, just personifying your brand is definitely essential now, for sure.
Yeah, no, that's good. My next question is, what are the key strategies for identifying and targeting the right audience with video content on social media?
Well, yeah, first of all, I think the easy place to start is, what's your target demographic? Maybe get an avatar together for who is the type of person that you want to be marketing your brand to, and then build out the content from there. So think about, what is the type of content that my target demographic would be interested in? So let's pick an example. Let's say you are selling holidays, for example. Start making travel content or something like that, or start creating the type of content which people that want to purchase a holiday would watch.
Yeah, for sure. I think on top of that, with social media and the way it's going now, and how clever these algorithms are, once you kind of have a decent idea of who you want to attract, you also kind of want to let the market decide for itself as well. Like these algorithms on TikTok and Instagram, they're very, very smart, and they're automatically going to serve your content to the people that are interested in it, because they're the ones that are going to be engaging, liking, commenting, following, and they're going to see it more and more. So I think, like Callum said, once you've got your demographic, take note of, are you attracting those people? Is there slight nuances in who you're attracting that's interesting? Like, is it more male? Is it more female? Older, younger, or whatever?
Yeah.
And let the market tell you maybe who you should keep going after, and where there's more room to kind of expand your audience, because to be honest, I think the algorithms are smarter than we are, so you want to listen to them.
Yeah. So basically, as Callum was saying before, start and let the analytics basically determine who is actually paying attention to your stuff. What if we start, right? We're looking to target Gen Zs, but then we find out that 40-year-olds are watching our stuff, but the content that we're putting out, we feel Gen Zs will resonate with. What do we do in that case? Because Gen Zs are not watching our stuff, 40-year-olds are watching our stuff, right? I don't know why 40-year-olds are watching Gen Z stuff, but anyway, that's another conversation. But what do we do in that case? Yeah,
so I guess a couple of things. Firstly, you want to work out, is that a good thing or a bad thing, depending on what you're selling or what your business does. If it's not necessarily a bad thing, like, okay, well, maybe this is a good market to go into, and scale it that way. Maybe these people need what we're selling. But if you know your product is only for Gen Zs and it's not relevant, then I guess you want to kind of rethink. Okay, so why are we currently reaching people of this age? And have a look again. What are they commenting? Why are they resonating with it? Is it the person hosting it? Is it the themes you're talking on? Is it the platforms that you're on? Kind of look into this, and then I guess you rethink about like what with the same topic that you're already talking on, what could interest Gen Zs, and kind of go again, and maybe use some like hacks to try and get into the Gen Z algorithm, whether it's talking about things relevant in the Gen Z world or having someone of that age hosting. But yeah, I would say normally it wouldn't necessarily be a bad thing, expanding your reach further. But yeah, if it is, probably restart and try and hack what they might like.
When we first started working with Simon, we found that our demographics tended to be around 25 to 40 years old, and a lot of that was because Simon was doing a different style of video. So Simon originally built up his audience to about, I think it was about 200,000 followers on TikTok at least. And he was doing like talking to the camera videos, so talking head videos, right? Talking about business, giving business tips, that sort of thing. And because of that, he attracted the older audience. However, now with the new model of video which we've been running, which is this what's your dream type content, where Simon goes up to people in the street and he finds out about their dreams and maybe gives them a bit of advice on how to make it happen. It's fun, it's voyeuristic, and what we've seen is that that's actually brought a much younger audience, so much so that Simon is now getting recognized in the street by 12-year-olds now.
Definitely. And I think it's interesting to note that was quite a conscious change for us as well, mainly because with the mission we have to help 10 million people start and grow their own business, a lot of these people are obviously going to be younger before they get trapped, whether it's by debt or by jobs or by university or whatever it is. And also while they're in the education system, which largely we're trying to fix, we know we wanted to hit this target market and we knew that we weren't. So that's why we made the conscious decision to like look at people leading that sort of space, like the sidemen, like Mr. Beast, think like, what are they doing? How can we use elements of that fun that kids are excited to go home from school and watch the video? How can we have elements of that within our content, which is what we started to do. And of course we're nowhere near as young as them because we're still doing business related content and stuff like that. It's slightly older, but it definitely managed to bring that age down. Like Callum said, like group of 12-year-old girls like swarming Simon in a park saying I've seen your videos on TikTok was probably the last thing he would have been expecting a couple of years ago.
I think you're going to say something.
The other thing I'd add to that is, if you are attracting a 40-year-old audience, just throwing it out there, are you a 40-year-old? Maybe you need to hire some Gen Z people to come in and give a fresh perspective on what's the type of content that they want to watch, that they want to see. You know, hire some people in, get some help, because content's hard, man. It's really hard. So, you know, if you can get some help in, even if it's just asking your sons, your daughters, that sort of thing. Get them to help you.
That's good. That's good, because they know what they liked, right? So
yes, exactly.
Next question. Can you share some practical tips for creating engaging video content that captures the viewer's attention?
Engaging tips, right? So off the top of my head, the first thing that comes to mind is one of our most popular videos actually was with a guy called Davide. He wanted to start a restaurant. Some people might have seen it online. This had something around 70 million total views cross-platform, I think. And one small hack which we utilised in that video was that we did it on Westminster Bridge. So in the background of that video, we had a very recognisable landmark, which was Big Ben, right? Small thing, small practical thing, but maybe you want to shoot some of your videos in somewhere that's recognisable. That's the geographical version of that. Another one you could utilise is hacking other people's brands. So actual people as opposed to locations. So maybe you want to talk about a trending topic about someone else in the space, or like KSI or someone like that. Bounce off of other people's brands to give yourself a leg up. That's a good way to
before you carry on,
go on.
What do you mean by that? What does that look like practically? So maybe you want to it's specific, so it depends on the type of content, but if you want to trend jack or bounce off of other people's personal brands, make videos about that. It's difficult to say it without giving a specific example.
I guess, like, if say Logan Paul just sold this Pokemon card for however much. If you're doing content kind of like us in the street, we've never actually done this video, but you could say, like, have a copy of it and say to someone, how much do you think Logan Paul just sold this Pokemon card for?
Okay.
Where so like you, and if you did that, say buy Big Ben, then you've got both recognizable things in it. I guess that's how it could look. But the main thing Callum's getting at here with both of those, both people and places, is like making it immediately recognizable for the viewer, so that they stay and watch the video. We're kind of talking about the hook here, and again, that could be just saying something really extreme at the start of the video, making a big bold claim, or like Callum said, newsjacking or something like that. And you've probably got, people say 3, it's probably more like 1.5, 2 seconds at the start of a video to catch people and get them to stay. And those methods, kind of just said, they're amazing methods of having really effective hooks that get people to stay. And then once you've got them to stay using any of those methods, or just making it visually interesting to start with, then you want to, I always say, keep things as concise as possible. Say the most possible in terms of like knowledge in the least possible words, for example. People hate fluff, and people's attention spans are poo nowadays because of these amazing apps. They're amazing if you're creating content, but it's killing everyone's attention span. So once you've got them in, it's not enough to then have a 1 minute long video about you talking really slowly about how Logan Paul might have bought this Pokemon card. People can be like, okay, I get where this is going, I'm done. But if you keep adding more and more in, or it cuts to this person, to this person, to this person, it keeps it fun, it keeps it fast paced, and then the video ends, and then and they're still wanting more. The dream is for people to go back and then watch it again, because wow, that was over so quick, and there's something I missed, I want to watch it again. So I guess in terms of getting people to watch a video and stay, it's those two things. It's how are you hooking them in, and then how are you making them stay and watch the whole thing.
Sorry, I rudely cut you off because I wanted to get something practical, or iron out the practicalities of what you're talking about there.
No.
What you were saying, so location, trend jacking, what else would you say?
That was what I was going to say. So okay. I think we got there before. The only thing I'd say, just bouncing off of what Jack said, which is absolutely brilliant, by the way, so make sure you listen. But pacing's quite important at the same time. So whilst we want to keep a high level of pace throughout the video, you don't want it to end super quickly and then not get any watch time, right? So you don't want really, really short videos. You want to keep people engaged throughout the video. So, I mean, a lot of this is off of instinct. I think going back to the first piece of advice that I have for people, which is just get started. People will get a feel for this once you get started. You start making these videos, the more you make, you get a feel for what kind of pacing is going to keep people in. I understand that's a bit of a frustrating piece of advice, but just a small piece there.
It's true, because like one time I ended up watching this YouTube video of this older guy in Tenerife. I was about to go, so I wanted to learn about it, and he had quite an engaged audience about his travels or something like that, and the video was so slow, but loads of people had watched it, and I found it quite interesting because I was like, the people that are watching his video, their attention span isn't fried. They really like and resonate with him, so they're willing to stay and watch. So you want to know who you're targeting, especially if you're targeting Gen Z. Then these pieces of advice definitely apply. You've got to keep it really, really quick, but obviously you've got to keep it authentic to whatever your audience want. So most of the time, I'd say keep it concise and stuff like that. But say if you're targeting older people, the way you go about that might be slightly different. So like, I think we'll give a lot of advice today, which is subjective. It's worked for us very well, but I think just as like a disclaimer, the main thing to consider is just be authentic to both yourself and the brand that you're building and the people that are watching it, because that's how you're gonna get the best results.
On the topic of duration, what's the average duration that you think that videos need to be on, let's say, TikTok or Instagram?
So sorry, how'd you breathing in? But
you go.
I'll start off. So most platforms allow up to 90 seconds. TikTok can go up to 10 minutes now, and they're always changing it. Currently, 90 seconds is I guess the sweet spot, other than YouTube's shorts, which still caps you at 60 seconds. So if you're kind of strapped for time and you're doing one edit of each video, then just keep it to 60 seconds while you start off with. What we do, if we have a piece of content where there's loads in it and we feel that it's enough to make a hyper engaging 90-second video, we'll then do a second edit of 60 seconds so that it can fit on YouTube shorts. But as a general rule, 60 seconds or between 60 and 90 seconds is good. And of course, shorter than that is fine as well, if it doesn't need to be that long. But a lot of people, if you're just starting out and you're just starting making your first video, you'll look and you've been rambling for 5 minutes. So I think making short videos probably isn't a problem when you're starting out. It's probably getting something concise into that 60-second bracket, which is probably a good goalpost to have.
Pretty much covered what I was going to say. He's good, isn't he? He's pretty good.
We are basically the same person. We almost wore the same.
Nearly. That's
today.
why I bought the jacket. I feel like I need to differentiate myself a little bit.
That's
from
actually true. I didn't
from
realize
the
that.
monochrome vibe we've got going on.
That's good. That's good. What are the most effective platforms for launching a social media presence from scratch using video, and why? I kind of feel like I know what you guys are already going to say, but you're probably going to say TikTok.
Yeah.
Probably going to say Instagram.
Short form
Reels.
platforms
Yeah.
is the answer. And the reason for that is because it's very accessible.
Yeah.
A lot of the videos on there are just shot off of a phone, right? So there's not any real barrier to entry for people to get started. The videos are a lot shorter, which means you can produce more, which means you can iterate more often, which means that you get better quicker. The reach is insane. So there's lots of reasons to get on short form platforms. I think the important thing to remember here is that you utilize all of the platforms. So a lot of these platforms are very similar. TikTok invented short form, right? And they built this amazing algorithm, and then all the other platforms copied. So focus on TikTok, get good at TikTok, but then don't forget to post everywhere else. So that's including TikTok, Instagram Reels, Facebook Reels. You want to utilize Snapchat.
Yeah.
What else have we got?
Twitter. LinkedIn.
Yeah.
LinkedIn technically not short form, but all these platforms slowly are optimizing towards it.
Yeah.
And it's no extra effort. Like Callum said, TikTok invented this amazing thing, so amazing that every single other platform has copied or is copying it. So because it's no extra effort, upload your TikTok on there and make sure you're putting it everywhere else as well, because you never know where the audience is going to come from. And you're essentially like 2x, 3x, 4, 5xing your reach every single time you do it. Like, for example, we weren't using Snapchat a few months ago, and I don't even personally have Snapchat, but someone told me that they now have a Reels function on there. I think I know now it's called Spotlight. So I took it upon myself to start just uploading all our old videos and then all of our new videos onto Snapchat. And my dream came true the other day because someone commented on Instagram saying, I've seen loads of your videos on Snapchat. And I was like, yes. And now some of the videos on there are getting tens or hundreds of thousands of views. Now, of course, we had a head start because we already had this amazing content.
Yeah.
But it kind of just shows that we're now in a month probably reaching at least a couple of million extra people just because we're putting the same content we're already putting out on other platforms onto this other platform.
Yeah. So I guess... 2 questions here. So I'm not swearing at you. 2 questions here. The content that you're putting out obviously matters, right? But how can businesses win with video? Because we're talking about they need to make money, right? How can video be a benefit for businesses, especially on TikTok? Why should a business owner be focusing on TikTok? Why should they be focusing on Instagram Reels, for example? What benefit will those platforms have for their businesses, short-term and long-term?
Short-term reach, so that they can reach more people, sell more of their stuff, whatever it is that you want to do with the audience. I think long-term, we make a lot of money from sponsorships now. So this is a marketing... it generates marketing for HelpBnk, our platform which we run, where people can get help for free. But the business makes a lot of money by marketing what we want to do. So that might be another extra long-term benefit. Yeah. There's a lot of money in content. If you get good at this and you get it right, you can make good money as well off the back of not just your business, but the marketing for it.
Yeah, I think it does slightly depend on what your business model is, when it pays off and how it pays off. So like, for example, if you're a service-based business, when you first start content, you probably will still find that your cold calling or your cold emailing will yield you more clients immediately than your content will. True. But over the span of a couple of years, you've built up this authoritative brand that puts you above the other brands in the space which only do outreach and they don't have the presence, and you'll start getting the inbound. So that's when you'll see that sort of result. So that's one example. And they're starting content from the beginning. It takes maybe a little while more to pay off. Another example is restaurants. For example, there's this apple crumble place in Spitalfields Market in London, and they people started posting about it, saying, have you tried this apple crumble in London? It's the best apple crumble. They're doing it themselves. And then very quickly, people are going to visit the restaurant, visit the stand. And I actually went back the other day. Bear in mind, it was over a year ago that people that started blowing up because of TikTok, and they've now moved from like the standard small stand to the bigger stand, and their queue is out the door and all the way around the corner. Wow. Because of what they've built on social media. And for them, it happened very quickly. Same with brands like Little Moons, for example. Like everyone started posting about it, and they're off all of the shelves. And especially if you're selling your own physical products on something like TikTok Shop, or even if you have a link through to your e-commerce site, the satisfaction is immediate. If you've got a viral video about your product, people are going to click through and buy your product. So like, I guess no matter what your business model is, our advice would definitely be start content now around the things that we're saying, around your niche and who you're trying to reach, and the results will pay off. Depending on your model, will kind of change when it pays off and how it pays off.
Yeah, no, that's good. That's good. So basically, the long-term goal is solidifies a presence and authority. People know about you. Kids might tell their parents about this thing that they saw, and now that's present or front of mind in their parents' mind when it comes to their purchasing decisions later on in the future. So yeah, I agree with the long-term play.
The best marketing is when people don't realize that they're being marketed to. So if they're just watching content on TikTok and they're having fun and they want to watch it, and then off the back of that they're subtly introduced to one of your products, you might not even have to actually sell it in the video. It might just be featured, right? That's the best kind of marketing. Yeah. So that, yeah.
And people spend a lot of money on ads, right? Like a lot. And don't get me wrong, ads are good. I'll never say there's not a place for them, because obviously they're trackable and all of this stuff. But like I said, we've never run spend behind any of our content. Obviously, it costs us money now to make, but it doesn't have to cost you money to make your own content. If you have a phone and your product, for example, that's enough. And that can save you, especially when you're starting out, hundreds or a few grand a month that you might have to put into paid ads just to test to see whether people like your product. So
no, that's good. That's good. Next question. How do you measure the success of video content on social media, especially when you're starting from zero?
So this is tough because the obvious answer is views, but if you're starting out, you're not going to be getting views. So the question is really, how else can we measure success? So, I mean, the first one, which I'd say off the top of my head, is, are you getting nice messages about your content? Are people watching it and enjoying it and relating to it? Try and find some evidence of that.
Yeah. I think things like that are important. Comments, messages. But then the problem is, like Callum said, especially if you're not getting that many views, it might be easy to get down and think, oh, it's not working, or this person blew up quicker than I did, or how do I know it's working? And especially within the first couple of months, the most important thing is just consistency. Like again, when I started posting on Snapchat, even though it was the same clips that were blowing up elsewhere, it got no views for ages and ages and ages and ages.
Literally zero on most of them, right?
Some zero, and it didn't really make sense to me. But none of us are smart enough to know exactly how these algorithms work, but there's definitely an element of like them learning who you're going to reach, and the more you put out, the more they can feed people towards you. So when you're starting out, in terms of measures of success, I would change it from like things you can't control to things you can control. You can measure and control how many times you're uploading a day, how many times you're uploading a week, for example, and how many platforms you're uploading to. And especially in the first 6 months, if these are your main definitions of success, I will upload 7 times a week to 5 platforms each time, then that is success. And that's a much better way to look at it. And then maybe once a month, or once every couple of months, then look back and see, okay, what worked, what didn't, what has more views, do more of that, do less of what didn't get the views, but don't get too caught up in it in the start, because the main thing is just getting started. And you should feel good if you've gone from putting no content out to putting content out daily, for example, because it can be quite hard, especially if you're putting yourself on camera, to kind of start that journey. So it's a very, very good measure of success, in my opinion.
No, and the final measure of success I'd just add to that is, are you having fun? Because content's fun. You guys will know that content is fun, right? We're all having a fun time right now. We're just having a chat, right?
Yeah.
So especially when you're getting started out, as Jack said, consistency is so important. So just make sure you have fun with it. Yeah.
And unlike a lot of business where like you can make a lot of money without having fun, right? Like you can, if it's a good business model or whatever, you can make a lot of money doing it. And it doesn't matter if I'm not having fun because it's making money, fine. But with content, it's not really like that, because content, it sounds kind of woo-woo, but it's very like energy based. Like people, especially if you're talking to camera, people are going to feel your energy and resonate off that. So if you're not having fun, people probably aren't going to have fun watching it. Means it probably won't work. So it's especially important with content over other parts of business.
Yeah.
So we need to remember to all smile at the camera right now just to get some good energy going. So
Having
we'll see
so
the viewers
much fun.
pop up, right?
No, that's good. No, I like that. I like that a lot. Next question. Are there any budget-friendly tools or resources that business owners can use to produce high-quality video content for social media? I know what you guys are going to say.
Yeah, I kind of touched on it. If you have a phone, then that's fine. If you have a terrible phone or an old phone, probably worth investing in a decent phone, but it's not going to cost you loads. Other than that, that's all you need to get started. Lighting, for example, lighting does affect how a video performs because it's the first thing people are seeing. Yeah. But if you live anywhere that isn't, I don't know, the North Pole in the time of year where there's no sun, you can go outside in the day and the lighting is good enough for your video to be good. So I guess the only other thing I'd say is get a friend who can help film for you if you're moving around and being active and you can't hold it up, for example, or you're filming something in particular, or get a tripod, quite cheap on Amazon. But as long as you've got a phone and yourself, that's all you really need.
How about audio?
Audio on the phone's fine for the most part.
Yeah.
To begin with, at least, anyway.
Yeah. Depends what type of content you're doing, but the wired Apple earphones, for example, have very good microphones. So if you're sat there talking to the camera, then that's more than good enough. If you're interviewing people in the streets, then invest in a small lapel mic or something. But they don't have to cost loads. And even to start with, in fact, some days we've forgotten the microphone, and you can just get voice notes up on your phone and hit record and put that up to them, and it's actually quite good quality. So most people, you've got absolutely everything you need to start. I guess if you want like a tangible website or resource you can use, this website called snaptic.com is quite helpful if you're putting your content up on TikTok, because you can then download it without the watermark and then use that on other platforms. So reason I say that is a lot of people say, Callum, he'll edit in Premiere Pro, a specific editing platform, and then obviously we'll have the clip which will go on all platforms. But a lot of people starting out, you're going to use TikTok. It's probably the best editor out of all the apps. You're going to use TikTok itself to edit because it is quite good. You can add in extra sounds, extra videos, stuff like that. It's more than good enough to edit a video. So just edit in there and then upload it, and then you can use that snaptic.com to download it without the watermark, and then it looks like you've used a good editor to make the video. So.
Yeah. How we're living in a generation where everyone's talking about AI right now. Are there any AI tools that people that may be free, or they may have to pay like a small fee for, that they can use to make creating content very, very easy?
The ones that I can think of off the top of my head are very specific, so I don't know how helpful this will be to your audience.
Say it.
There's one I use which is called Autopod.
Okay.
And it basically edits podcasts for you. So you guys might like this. I don't know if you're using it already. Are you? Oh, they're using it already. See, brilliant. But it basically you just it's an extension that you can put into your editing software, and it will just cut the cameras depending on who's speaking. So it's really, podcast editing is slow and boring, but it just breezes through it, so it does it for you. So it's Autopod. What else do I use? Photoshop, generative AI is pretty helpful for making thumbnails and that sort of thing. Photoshop AI. I'm trying to think what other ones we use.
There's Descript for the voice when you had to do Simon's fake voice that time.
Yeah. There was this one time when Simon, was he away on holiday or something? He didn't have the proper microphone and audio hardware to record a voiceover for me. So I went into Descript, basically got some old audio of Simon speaking, plugged it in, created a fake AI voice that sounds exactly like Simon, and now we basically control the man without him having to be there. So that's pretty useful. Descript. Another one, which is really good, you guys will like this as well, is Adobe Podcast, it's called. And it's basically, you're nodding your head, use it? Yeah, I see, you're using it. Everyone knows the good stuff. But basically what it is, you plug the audio in and it just cleans it up for you. Just clever AI, gets rid of editors like me and the team. So yeah.
To take it kind of broad, I guess, again, for people that aren't editors or have a specific use, the most helpful one is ChatGPT. Everyone knows about it, but like if you just want ideas for your content, say to ChatGPT, my business is this, I am this age, I like these type of things, give me ideas within everything I've just told you for content I can create, and obviously it will give you a list. Things like that can really speed up the process of creating content, and really you want to just reduce friction. Like with a lot of these AI tools, if you're starting out, you probably don't need it to start with. It's probably an extra layer that you don't necessarily need until you get a bit further down the line. You want to just film, quickly edit and put it up. So if you're the AI tool, to remove that friction even more, is probably just using something like ChatGPT to help you generate those ideas, so you can kind of get through brain mental block if you have it, and kind of just get started.
Yeah, no, that's good. That's good. Next question. Could you walk us through the process of developing a content calendar for video content on social medias, especially for people that are maybe new to what a content calendar is, how to use it, what sort of ideas they should do for their videos? So what does the content calendar look like? What sort of things would you create using let's say HelpBnk as an example, and then I'll give you an example for, let's say, someone who sells flowers. What could they do? What could they use a content calendar to do?
Yeah, so we have kind of an interesting perspective on this. Now, I think if you say you want to sell flowers and you know who you want to reach, you do definitely want to brainstorm different ways, different types of videos you could test to reach these people. So you might say, for example, and write it down, once a week I'm going to go up to people and try and sell the flowers to them. Once a week I'm going to talk about the best type of flowers, and once a week I'm going to do a challenge of who can, I don't know, fill their house with the most flowers, or something like that. You might have a few different formulas, and then you could write it down in a calendar, in a spreadsheet or something, that this is what I'm going to do, this is what I've got to film, this is what I've got to put out. That, I think, definitely makes sense. But content is very reactive, or a lot of the time you want to be very reactive into what's working, and what the audience are enjoying and what you're enjoying. So in some ways you don't want a calendar to get in your way too much. For example, we heard about the staircase on the radio that we recently bought for HelpBnk HQ, and then the next day we went to buy it and then filmed it, and then the next day we released a video on it. Now, if we had some calendar, which we do kind of have, but it's not super detailed like you might expect for someone with the reach that we have, then that we could have said, if we need to fit that in our calendar, it won't fit until next week, and then say the hype might have died off a bit, we might not have made the press like we did. So I guess, like, my short answer to this would be definitely have some types of content that you want, and definitely commit to uploading certain times of the week, and once you film them, put them in a little spreadsheet. But I don't think it's worth people getting too caught up on. I think the main thing is just you're putting it out, you're filming the videos, and then seeing what you're enjoying, what people are resonating, and doing more of it. Yeah. No, when a calendar gets more helpful, and to be honest, now we've only just started really using them, is when we have more members of the team on board, so the other editors can put the content in, and so that we can see what's going out there, just to make like the systems within the business a bit better. But especially if it's just you or just someone else, have fun with it, and just make sure you're putting it out, and then be a bit reactive on it.
Yeah, depends on the person for sure.
Yeah,
I don't really have anything to add on the content calendar thing, but just another content idea for someone selling flowers: give some flowers out to people in public, right? Some wholesome content. Like some people might not have received flowers for years. Maybe one of their husband died recently or something like that, and just to cheer them up a bit, and then that way you're subtly featuring the product in the video without pushing it. And then people might check out your profile. Oh, look, they sell flowers too. I kind of want to get some flowers myself. Watching all these videos of people getting flowers, you know, where's mine? So buy yourself some.
Yeah, no, that's good. That's good. In terms of the best times to post or the best times to schedule, how is that determined? Do you just post, or is there method behind the madness?
Yeah, so we've thought about this a lot naturally over the last couple of years, and if you go on the different apps like TikTok and Instagram, you can see when your audience is the most active. So you could say, oh, post at that time, but and surely I'll reach the most people. But then there's also the argument that if you're posting at that time, that's when most other people are posting. So maybe it's a little bit harder to reach the most people. So our conclusion on this is just post good content whenever you want to post it, to be honest. I probably wouldn't post it in the middle of the night when everyone in your main time zone is asleep. But for example, I posted a clip at 11 p.m. the other day, and we are more UK than US, and it still did really well. So yeah, my conclusion is it doesn't matter really. Just focus on putting out good content.
Okay, so just focus on making sure that the content works for that particular platform, and just put it out there.
Yep.
It's good. Can you provide us or give us examples of businesses or brands that you've seen that have really, really utilized video to like take them to different levels?
Prime, straight off the bat, is the easy one.
And what do you think that they did that we can do, that businesses can do?
They built a personal brand first and foremost. It kind of goes back to what we were saying earlier in the webinar. So if you're just joining us now, I'll get you caught up. Basically, brands right now, they're getting built off the back of personal brands. If you look at any successful brand now, it's off the back of a personal brand. So let's say Skims, Kim Kardashian, right? Feastables, Mr. Beast. Let's say a different one, Wrexham FC, right? Ryan Reynolds and Rob McElhenney, they've done an amazing job. Come into a frankly a failing football club in a obscure Welsh town and turn them into superstars. They're plastered all over Disney Plus right now, right? So build a personal brand.
So I guess I see two sides of it. I see that side, but like the personal brand first, and then you launch the business, which was also the same model that we're doing with HelpBnk, of course. Like Simon's personal brand helped us kick off HelpBnk, but now we're growing a brand for HelpBnk, using the people on the platform to tell the stories by coming up and ringing the doorbell on our staircase, pitching their dreams, and the people that use HelpBnk are becoming the faces of HelpBnk. So I guess that's one way to do it. And then the other side, kind of like I touched on a minute ago, with brands like Little Moons or restaurants that you see where they just kind of come out of the blue and people are like, have you tried this? I think what you can learn from these is like when you're creating a product or a restaurant or whether it's physical or location based, just kind of think, how can you make it unique and visual so that either you or other people can make content out of it? I think that's a really good way to go. Like, for example, if you're starting a coffee shop, you might put a little swimming pool in there, for example. Like one it's just fun.
Tell me that wouldn't bang on TikTok, right?
Yeah. Very interesting. One, it's just fun. For the people in the town, they'll see it and we'll go. But then beyond the people in the town that know about it, you very quickly you can engineer it yourself by saying, we've just opened a coffee pool with a coffee shop with a swimming pool, come visit. I guarantee if you open that tomorrow and you didn't even bother making content yourself, people will do your job for you because the idea is so good, it's so visual and so relevant to what I believe that society and social media want nowadays. People are going to turn up, they're going to try it, and they're going to know, because people are switched on, this is going to bang on social media. So they're going to say, join me to my coffee date in a swimming pool. And they're going to start creating content for you. And I think that's a really interesting way to go, because some brands, they're lucky it happens by accident, and restaurants and stuff, but a lot of it nowadays is definitely engineered. So if you can have other people creating content for you that's costing you no money and no time and bringing you business, I think that's an amazing way to go.
Yeah, it's a win-win, isn't it?
Yeah,
because you're basically, and I'm not guessing, the official term for that is UGC, right? User generated content. When you're having, like you said, somebody rock up to your coffee shop, they're having a coffee, but they see your pool, They probably throw their kids in the pool, take a picture of the kids in the pool with the branding on the background, and they put it out on their Facebook. Their Facebook sees it. Their whole Facebook family now turns up to the same place. They do the same thing again.
Yeah.
And then that's a that works well for, let's say, restaurants, right? How can that be applied to, let's say, somebody who is, let's use the flower business again. How can, let's say, the flower business utilize that same principle?
User generated content for the flower business.
Yeah,
that's the question.
As an example, could be a flower shop, could be a brownie maker, could be what could they do?
So I guess it's like, depends if they have a physical premises or not. If they do, then it obviously becomes obvious. How you design it, optimize it for intrigue and to make it visual for people to come. But I guess that's kind of what we were just talking about. So if we say they have a flower business that is purely online, something like with every set of flowers that gets delivered, there's a surprise and there's a letter inside with a personalized note around like why someone will love you, for example, or something like that, because then people are going to order it, and you probably had something else to make it a little bit more exciting and unique, but then people are going to order it and they're going to read it out on camera saying, oh, this is what my flower line was, for example, if you call them #flower lines, and then people are going to read it out, and then you could, if you make it exciting and unique enough and maybe exclusive, then everyone's going to want to order these flowers just so they can see what their flower line is, for example, and then they're going to put that on social media. So just have that spice that's slightly visual, slightly unique, slightly different, that gets people talking about it.
No, that's good.
It at the end of the day, I think it all comes down to experience. You need to provide user-generated content. You need to provide an experience for these people. So just try and think about that. How can you provide an experience for people within your brand and your business? So, with HelpBnk, we provide an experience for people by offering them a mecca in the middle of Twickenham of a staircase, and they can push the button and pitch their business to literally millions of people. And then a couple of weeks later, they're put out on socials, and their dream might just happen. So how can you provide an experience for people that is worthy of them sharing it online?
It's such a good point. And to take it a little bit further and to make a bold statement, I literally believe that if everyone took this advice, this is how we could fix the dying high streets up and down the UK. Like if you go, we know that 90% of high streets, unless it's a really rich place, at least 20-30% of the shops are dead. They're gone because people don't need to go because they can order online. If everyone creates their business like this, especially with physical premises in a high street, people are going to have a reason to actually want to go out to these physical places, and they're going to be telling other people about it and having mass marketing because of the content of the experience. So literally attaching experience to your business, I genuinely believe could save the high streets.
That's really good. That's really good. So just key takeaways: having a bit of spice, a bit of variation, that intrigue that will get that person or that consumer to really, I want a piece of that. I want to see if I can get that note. I want to see if I can get that line. So just building that intrigue, building that experience, or working on an experience which your audience wants to be part of is the main takeaway there. No, that's good. So one thing that people struggle with, especially when they're running businesses, is being able to know what's trending sometimes, or being able to keep their ear to the ground about what's doing well, what changes have come into place. Where do people go to stay up to date with things that are trending, or what's popping at the moment, or what's blowing up?
I'm going to throw a bit of a curveball out there.
Go on.
I'd say forget trends. Forget it. Personally, for me, I have a little bit of a hate for trends and that sort of thing when people say, I'll jump on a trend or something like that. Because I think if you're jumping on a trend, chances are you're already too late because the masses are already doing it, right? And also the other thing to remember in marketing is that you want to be different. So who cares if you're the 50th person that's doing a trending dance on TikTok? You're not going to stand out, and people aren't going to bother watching your stuff because it's just some random nobody doing a dance on TikTok, right? So I would say be different, have fun, focus on these sorts of things instead of getting wrapped up in what other people are doing and what, be inspired by other people, take other people's advice on how to get better, but don't necessarily just copy and paste. especially on trends, because in my opinion, I don't think it's going to do as much for people as they think. Yeah,
it's slightly nuanced, but like the best you can be when you're copying someone else is like second best to them, right? That doesn't mean that, like Callum said earlier, you shouldn't newsjack or something like that. And if you're scrolling on social and you see, or the news or wherever you find your news, and you see something big that's happening, you shouldn't talk about it. But like this isn't going to be the core way that you're going to like grow your business, right? It is focusing on yourself, your business, who you're targeting, and being authentic to them. In terms of like other stuff, like staying up to date on the platforms and things like that, again, like just make sure, I guess some helpful advice is use new features when platforms push them out, which you're going to see because they're going to push them to you anyway. You use these features like when, say, TikTok start allowing you to do longer videos, put out a longer video, or when there's a new function in an Instagram story, use those, because typically, again, we can't speculate on exactly how their algorithms work, but these platforms obviously are going to reward people for using their new features, right? Because they want them to do well. So use that stuff when you see it and test it out. But again, normally just focus on your audience, what you're doing, and short form content, because it's not like every 2 months a new format of content comes out and we all have to panic and think, how are we gonna reach people now? Like TikTok did an incredible job when they brought out short form content, but that was what, 3 or 4 or 5 years ago now, and nothing's changed since then. Really, nothing big has changed since then. It's still all about short form. So I guess I'm sure it will change a little bit again in the future, so keep an eye of what new apps come out as well, and try them out. If they're a new formula, definitely keep an eye on how that formula works and try it and see if it gets picked up massively, because the early adopters to TikTok did have good results.
Absolutely smashed it,
because there was less people on there, so do keep an eye out for it. But again, this is not something that's going to happen every day, and if you're watching this, unless you're watching it years in advance, it's probably still all about short form content.
No, that's good. We're just about to round up there, but I'm going to ask both of you your top 3 tips. I don't want both of you.
We'll come up with 6 now.
I don't want you both to copy each other, but your top 3 tips for businesses to win with video on socials. I'll start with you, because I know you're going to come up with like 20. So I'll go with you so you don't copy him.
All right. So I'm gonna have the easy one. So I'm gonna make it harder for Jack. So we'll see if he squirms. I
can't think of mine until you've done yours either.
So first of all, just have fun with it. I think it's the most important thing. If you're not intrinsically motivated to do this stuff, you probably won't win, because content is hard, but it can be easy if you have fun with it. Second of all, be consistent, because like anything that you're building, consistency is massively important, right? You can't build anything if you're not constantly doing it, practicing, getting better. And third of all, I'm going to think about my third. Do you want to do a few? Top tip for content.
Go on, you got to do your third. What was your first 2?
Have fun, be consistent.
Be consistent. Go on, you got a third.
Be yourself. I think be authentic, be real. People like you said earlier, people want to connect with people. It's cliche, but cliches are cliches because they tend to be true, right? So I think just be yourself, own that space, pick a niche, double down on it, but then once you pick a niche, make it accessible to everyone. So I'll quickly give an example of how we did that. So business as a niche, business is online content, boring, people, might not want to watch it on short form, especially because, if you look at the average person that's scrolling through short form, they're sat there maybe in a bit of a slump, dopamine, So we want to entertain people. That's how we did it. So we made business accessible by subtly entertaining people, but subtly educating them within that. And we did that through the What's Your Dream content with Simon Squibb. So have fun, be consistent, be yourself.
Cool. All right. So 3 that aren't those 3. First one, I think focus on what you control. We touched on it earlier, but I think that's really, really, really important, especially when you're starting out. Don't get wrapped up in the views. Just choose how much you're going to upload a week and stick to it. Second is build a community. This is undoubtedly the most powerful thing about what we've done and how we've capitalized and kept growing at the pace that we have, is because the people that are watching, they're engaging with the stories, they're engaging with us, and then they're joining the community and helping each other out, and really feeling like a family, feeling like they belong on HelpBnk or previously in our Discord community, and these people become your core fans, which rave about you to others, and even if you put out, say, a terrible video, which sometimes you're going to do by accident, you might think it's amazing, your core community are going to watch it and probably enjoy it because they love what you do. So that's the second one, build a community. And then I guess the third one is probably one of my biggest learnings in business, but I'll find a way to tie it back to content, is think so big.
So true. I was going to say this as like a little bonus one. Think big.
Think so big that people think you're crazy. And all credit to Simon for teaching me this, like, because especially being young and trying to, say, make money or start business, you don't, a lot of time don't tend to think too big because you think quite practically. But like Simon, and then therefore us as a team, we think so big with our mission, with our goals, that so many people want to support, so many people are excited by it, and therefore we reach so many people. And that's my biggest learning in business, and that definitely translates to the content that you're creating, because like the bigger, the better, the more exciting it is. We see how much money or time that Mr. Beast spends on his content. Like, think how you can do that in your own way, not spend the most money on it, but if you're interviewing someone, how can you interview 1,000 people for this one video about this one topic? Just go so big, because I guarantee the results will be fun and exciting, and people will love it.
Yeah. I was in a meeting the other day with a TV production team, and what one of the team described what we're doing at HelpBnk. They described it as a movement. And I genuinely believe that we're building a movement with the content that we're putting out there, because people feel a part of something. Off the back of Jack's community point and the think big point, we're building a movement here. This is a community of people that are quitting their boring jobs. They're chasing their dreams. They're thinking big, and they're living their lives. You know, we're just a group of people that refuse to give up on our dreams. So yeah,
I like the think big part, because like when you think big, people thinking, what the heck? Some people might think, you know what? Thinking about this, some people might think, great, want to jump on board, and some people might basically think that, oh, these people are bonkers, and they start probably talking about you to other people, like, oh, have you heard about those bonkers people? That friend then goes to check out these bonkers people, they get plugged in, and like the cycle just continues as well. So now that think big part is really key. You guys have really brought some gems here, for those that are joining us, how do people find you? What are you guys about? What are you guys doing? How do they get in contact with you?
So the best way, I guess, to join us is to go on helpbank.com, make an account, ask questions to the community, go and see if you can answer anyone else's. Essentially, you get rewarded for helping others with points, which then translates into cash prizes and things like that. But the help that you get on there will always be for free. So I guess that's one way. You can find at HelpBnk on all socials, and if you follow at Simon Squibb, that's where we're doing our biggest content, if you like. And then I'm personally at Jack Wessingsteel on all socials. Instagram I use the most. I don't know your username, Callum.
I'm at CallumChurch15 on Instagram. Alternatively, connect with me on LinkedIn. Or if anyone has any questions on the live stream right now that haven't been answered yet, just jump on a HelpBnk and tag us in a question, post a question, tag us at Callum, at Jack, right?
Yeah.
And we'll answer them for you.
There we go. So you've heard it here, guys. Thank you for joining us on another episode of UKBF Talks. Next week, we're going to be focusing on all things AI. Now, before I go into every webinar, I always ask my guests, like I asked Jack and Callum today, are you human beings? Because we need to keep human beings here. AI is potentially about to take over, but we're going to be focusing on how AI is actually going to benefit your business. So tune in next Wednesday to find out a bit more about that. So, all right, guys. I'll ask you questions. All right. So, I have one product, trading for 4 years. I have fantastic reviews and great customer support. However, I struggle to get followers. I'm just failing by not making personal. Am I just failing by not making personal videos? and I'm not. She's not Gen Z.
You don't have to be Gen Z, right? So, I mean, we've built Simon's brand over the last few years, and he's, well, I won't give his age away, but he's not Gen Z, right? So I wouldn't worry about that. Forget that. That would be a limiting belief. Did they say that they're not making any personal brand videos?
So that I'm just failing by. Am I just failing by not making personal videos? Yeah. So they're not making any.
I think I believe she hasn't mentioned what her business actually is, right?
No.
So I guess obviously hard to give specific advice, but if the reviews are really good, a good place to start is look at the reviews and look what the common things people are saying are around about what's so good about your product, and start to create some whether fun or entertaining or educational, depending on your product, some fun content around what the best reviews are saying, because your product clearly shines. So it's just finding a way to translate it to over content.
Yeah. So I guess just to answer Karen's question as well, and these guys have been talking a lot about putting a face to the business, right? Personal branding. So just starting and making some content about what you do. Oh, there's a bit more context there. I'm making videos. I have a product called Broom Raker. It's an equestrian and garden product.
Okay, make equestrian content. You know, get involved. Put your face to the camera, or maybe make some content about horses and that sort of thing, and just own that space, because anyone that's in that space might want your product. So stop talking about your product, because this is going to come off as brutal. Don't take offense. No one cares about your product. People online, they're not going to care about your product. You got to show them your product and show them why they should care. But people generally, if they're just scrolling through TikTok and they see a video about whatever your product is, broom raker, they don't know what it is, right? So just own a space, make some noise, create a brand, and then people will want to support you and buy your products because you've given them so much value in your content already. And case study for this, and I forget the lady's name, but there's this lady on TikTok who's literally just a cleaner. I know she's massive, at least 1 million followers, and she creates content just kind of doing Q&As, answering people's questions while she cleans. And I'm not sure if she then sells her cleaning services from that, but everyone knows she cleans. No one actually cares about cleaning. And if someone thinks of a cleaner, especially on TikTok, they're going to go to her. So, and she also is not Gen Z. So yeah, like kind of said, just make some content that's authentic to you, that interests you around the space, and people are going to, over time, find out about what you do and hear about your product. Yeah,
we've got people saying that they've registered for HelpBnk.
Sweet.
As well. What is the best tool for scraping the above media for dog owners? Or is there any other ways to identify 35 to 55-year-olds, affluent wives? This is a very specific question. Let me start again.
Go on.
All right. So what is the best tool for scraping the above media for dog owners? Or is there any other ways to identify 35 to 55-year-old affluent wives with pets in the family?
I guess it depends who you are. If you fit in that group, then that's easy, because you can start just being authentic, making content around you and dogs and things that you would be interested in. If you're not in that group, then I guess you ought to ask, why do I need to specifically target those people? But if you're dead set on targeting those people, I probably would just... Is the product about dogs?
I believe so.
So if the product's about dogs, again, similar to the equestrian stuff, start creating fun. Dogs are quite easy because people love dogs anyway. So just start creating fun content using kind of the advice we've given so far in that space. And naturally, the people in the group that you just mentioned will be a part of that.
Yeah.
With content, it's impossible to only target the people you want to target. So a better way, especially if you've got a solid niche, is just to own the niche, and then naturally the people within your niche of your niche will then hear about your product.
Yeah.
Is it just me that's getting really excited for all these people? Like they're telling me that they're struggling making content about their products and their business and stuff. And the advice is literally just have fun and make content about the stuff you love doing. You know,
Yeah.
go play with the horses, play with the dogs,
Yeah.
have some fun.
Yeah, no, that's good.
Put out 100 videos, and then I guarantee you'll have some sort of success with one of them. And then do more. Just do more of
Yeah.
it. Don't overthink it.
Yeah. So just start.
Yeah, yeah.
Just start.
Just start.
On that note, guys, they just said start. So please leave us alone. All right, we're going to finish there. And yeah, if you have any more questions, just I'm sure the guy said that you can ask them on at Jack and at Callum.
Yeah, on HelpBnk.
On HelpBnk as well. So yeah, sorry guys, I'm not being rude. We do love your company, but I'm hungry as well. So thank you guys for joining us today. And we look forward to seeing you next week when we talk about all things AI. Have a good one.